Embracing hardship. All right. One of the things that the book talks about is embracing hardship. Why pain is necessary to forge a powerful man. One of the things that Thor talks about in the book is how transformation cannot possibly happen without a little bit of pain and discomfort, right? You have to go through challenge and adversity to become the superhero inside. Like, look at any hero's journey story out there. Look at Star Wars, right? Star Wars, like A New Hope, the first movie that ever came out in theaters. Anyway, it's technically like episode 4, but the first Star Wars movie that ever came out, it's basically the hero's journey. It's your typical hero's journey story of a guy who was born less than, and he's got to go through adversity and trials to become a Jedi, right? He's got to, you see these stories all the time of a guy who's like a poor peasant, and then he's got to go through all these trials and tribulations, and he becomes a fucking knight or a king or, someone like that, right? That stuff doesn't just get handed to you. You have to go through challenges. So if you recognize that, you stop avoiding the challenges and you start looking forward to it and you embrace it. You embrace the suck, right? As like the special forces would say, you embrace the suck, because you either come out better, you'll always come out better for it, right? But you either win or you learn something, right? Lateral thinking and problem solving. So one of the things that Thor tries to teach in the book is how to outsmart obstacles instead of being crushed by them, right? How to be more strategic, in your thinking. This is a good skill to have, right? Because a lot of guys, man, they get too in their heads, and they can't solve problems, and they end up just getting buried by them, right? A lot of guys end up, zeroing out and self-deleting and stuff like that. But instead, you want to develop more of a lateral thinking and problem solving ability, so you don't ever get there. You don't worry about it. You're like, how do I fix this, right? And then Thor talks about the power of presence, right? Why your physical and mental presence dictate your success in all areas of your life. I say this a lot, man. A lot of people judge you and they interact with you based on your physical presence, right? I think they say out there that 95% of our communication is done through subtext, right? Your body language and your tone that you're picking up. It certainly is that way with women, right? Women really pick up on the subtext and not necessarily the words coming out of your mouth. That's why whenever you're in an argument with a woman, if she doesn't like your tone, she immediately checks out, and then she makes the whole argument about your tone. I don't like your tone, sir, right? And you're like, would you just listen to the words coming out of my mouth? She can't listen because your tone is showing all this insecurity and frustration and all this kind of stuff, and she tunes out. So if you can control that, control your presence, have more mental frame, think before you speak, that sort of thing. Get your emotions in check before, so that you can respond without reacting. All that kind of stuff goes to your presence, right? Also, your body language is important. So Thor talks about all that kind of stuff. Another thing that Thor talks about in this book that Aaron Clary's going to fucking hate is Thor actually subscribes to affirmations and visualization. Every one of my books has talked about affirmations at some level, and every book that Aaron Clary's read and done a review on, he's shit on it. He's absolutely shits on it. But there's a reason why we talk about affirmations and visualization. It's because it works, right? As a master NLP practitioner, I know that it works, right? What you're doing with affirmations, it's not about being Stuart Smalley and being like, doggone it, I'm good enough and people like me. Although you can do that. Like if you're someone who's insecure and you think that no one likes you, if you tell yourself everyone likes you, eventually you're going to believe it. Okay. It's not fucking woo-woo. It's psychology. So Thor talks about affirmations and visualization, right? How to program your subconscious to make dominance your default setting, right? So Thor touches on it in his book if you guys really want to go into it, my psychology paradigm book that's 100% what the book's about. The whole book, right? But the affirmations and visualization are important, right? And visualization is kind of cool because your mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what you imagine. So if you can visualize yourself being a certain way, your subconscious will start to believe it's real and you'll start acting that way, right? Your actions are caused by your habits, your paradigms, right? The way you think, subconsciously. Your subconscious thoughts cause your actions. Those actions cause reactions. Those reactions cause your results in life. So if you're not getting the results you want in your life, you have to change this up here. And that's where affirmations and visualization come in. There's other ways of doing it. Like one thing that I like doing is scripting in the morning. It's almost a combination of both, right? If you sit down in the morning with a notebook, spend about 10 minutes writing out a story of your life in the future, the way you want it to be, but in the present tense, as if it's already happened. And you just write it out, right? You talk about all the things you're doing, the trips you're going on, how you're interacting with people, how people are responding to you. You're going to start visualizing it, right? You're going to start painting these word pictures in your head. You're going to start believing it. Okay. That repetition, doing it every day, 10 minutes a day, is going to cause that to really seep into your subconscious mind and create a new paradigm. Okay. So Thor talks about that in his book too. And then the final step, becoming the hero in your own life, right? No one's coming to save you. You either step up or you fade into irrelevance. This is where you stop blaming people. You stop hoping that someone's going to come and teach you stuff. Like you go out and you're active. Like if you need to learn something, no one's going to come and just show it to you, right? Like you have to seek out knowledge. You have to take action and go towards what you want. You have to make that move forward to achieve your goals in life. No one's going to just hand shit to you, right? And you got to stop blaming other people for the obstacles in your life and realize that you're in control of everything, right? So take some extreme ownership with all of that kind of stuff. And then I recommend, Thor doesn't talk about it in the book, but I talk about it in the foreword. I recommend, just like with my last two books, if you really want this to seep into your subconscious and become a part of who you are, if you really want to internalize the information in this book, my books, any book that you really want to truly absorb and make that what the information in the book a part of who you are and a part of like the actions you take on a daily basis, you need to read that book multiple times, right? So in the foreword of Thor's book, I invite you to listen to it on Audible or read it on Kindle or paperback or whatever multiple times, because the more you listen to it or read it, the more you're going to retain. We only retain about 10% of the information we read or listen to. So if you truly want to master it, you have to at least listen to it or read it 10 times, right? That mathematically, that makes sense, right? But more importantly to that, what you'll find is that when you listen to a book on repeat, when you read a book on repeat, it actually seeps into your subconscious and starts reprogramming your subconscious. You start developing what Thor's talking about in this book. Like you don't have to sit down and do the affirmations. You don't have to sit down and do journaling or whatever, any of the other shit that we talk about in these books. All you have to do is listen to the book multiple times, and you'll find you'll start acting in a way that aligns with the book. It's fascinating how that works. It's fascinating how that works. If you ever, like what I mentioned, Bob Proctor before, right? He's one of my mentors. Someone handed him Think and Grow Rich when he was, I don't know, a teenager. He was working at a fire station. He says he owed $8,000 and only made $4,000 a year, right? And this guy handed him Think and Grow Rich, and he started reading it on repeat. And then a couple of years later, or maybe a year later, he started a floor cleaning business that ended up blowing up, and he ended up, running this company that was operating in 3 different countries, right? The United States, Canada, and England. And he was making millions of dollars. running a floor cleaning business. And what he was doing at that time was he was listening to Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret on record. He was listening to a record of The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, which has a lot of the same concepts as Think and Grow Rich. A lot of similar concepts. And what he realized, because he was in a gambling casino one time and he was just blowing all this money. And he was like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'll just make more money. Like, it doesn't matter, right? He developed this mindset that he's got an unlimited supply of money coming to him, so he might as well blow it. But he just couldn't. It just stuck in his craw. He couldn't figure out how a guy like a nobody could go from nothing and being broke to a multi-million-dollar business owner. And what he realized was, oh, fuck, I've been reading Think and Grow Rich and listening to The Strangest Secret on repeat for like the last 5 years. That's the change. That's the difference. I've just been listening to this over and over again, right? And reading this stuff over and over again. And that's what made him a multimillionaire. So he decided to sell that business and go work with Earl Nightingale with the was it Nightingale Cohen company. They have all sorts of self-help, audiobooks and shit and programs. And he went to go study under Earl Nightingale because he's like, I got to learn why this worked, right? And so that's what really forced him on the path of becoming Bob Proctor, one of the leading guys in the self-help space, right? Well, that's why I invite you guys to read Thor's book and my books and any book that you truly value and you really want to internalize the concepts in those books. Read them multiple times.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.